Tanglemane. Have you ever heard this name? If you haven't, don't worry. Today I'm here to explain you who this lion is and what was his purpose in The Lion King. Tanglemane is a male lion, known for being lonely and aggressive by nature. He is physically described as old and ugly, but despite these flaws, he is a massive and powerfully built lion. He also reminds Simba of his father Mufasa in some way. Tanglemane first appeared in the story In Deep Water, the 14th release from the Hakuna Matata magazine series. This story's purpose is to fill the gap of Simba's childhood and adolescence during his self-exile in the jungle by telling adventures and introducing new characters. This lion story is really curious and unique, and because of this, today we are going to focus in the plot of the story In Deep Water to better understand Tanglemane's role and character. But before we continue, remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell, so you'll be updated of every new video. And without further ado, this is the story of In Deep Water. Every year in the jungle, during the middle of the summer, comes the hot season. During this period, water is scarce. Heat is intense. This problem brings thirst, exhaustion and sometimes even death to the animals living there. Simba, Timon and Pumbaa were living in the jungle, and as every year, they now had to go search for a water source. The nearest and biggest was the lake, and it was used by all the jungle inhabitants, especially during this season. Shortly after arriving to the lake, they realized that the water level was extremely low and it was quickly drying up. Everyone was desperate because all the other water sources had already dried up and there was no way to reverse this. Simba asked around for information in order to find a way to solve this problem, until a pelican showed up and told him there was no solution, unless he asked Tanglemane for help. "Who is Tanglemane?" asked Simba. The pelican told Simba that he is a wise lion, living in the high ground on one side of the lake. There was one problem though. He hated company and was known for being very aggressive, but he was the only one that could find a solution in this situation. After some evaluation, Simba, Timon and Pumbaa decided to go for it and meet this wise lion. They reached the high ground and were heading to Tanglemane's cave. They followed what looked like huge paw prints on the ground, until a great and massive lion emerged in front of them. They froze, and there was a sudden and intense sense of fear among the three. At this point, Simba took a deep breath and took courage in order to try to calm the whole situation by reminding his friends the purpose why they were there in the first place. But Tanglemane's patience was short and loudly snarled as a strong hint to leave. Tanglemane's threats were not working, so he decided to go further. He stepped on a rock and lashed his paw, trying to scratch Simba's face, but fortunately he missed him. He did it 2 times, but at the second try, he slipped off the rock, rolling till the wall ahead and smashing his face against it. Everyone stood silent, not knowing how he would have reacted after this incident, but unexpectedly, he happily stood up and started laughing, leaving Simba, Timon and Pumbaa very confused. What was happening was that Tanglemane lost a tooth while hitting the wall, realizing that this tooth was the reason of his irritability and bad attitude. It caused him an intense pain, day and night, for several years, but now it had finally fallen. He surprisingly thanked Simba and finally, patiently, listened to his request. Tanglemane seemed ready to help, but during this time, Timon and Pumbaa noticed that his whole body was covered in scars and curiously asked him about them. In order to solve their doubt, the great lion decided to tell them his story. Tanglemane once ruled a big pride with strength and kindness. The problem was that this pride was desired by many, and in consequence always under attack by stranger challengers that wanted to take the leadership. Tanglemane, thanks to his huge body and strength, always managed to defeat them all. But as time passed, age and food scarcity weakened him, and one day he got finally defeated in a harsh battle against two lions. At this point, he was expelled from the pride, and in order to survive, he was forced to wander for days till he found a cave, the cave in which he is living now. The most important thing about this cave was that it has a rich underground river. Tanglemane pointed out to a tunnel and told Simba and his friends to go down there without him, because he had no energy to accompany them. At the end of the tunnel, Simba found the underground river. It had more than enough water for all the animals. They now needed to bring all that water to the surface. But how? This hidden river was situated at the side of the hill, if watched from the outside, and thanks to this arrangement it was a possible task, but they needed help from as much animals as possible to get this task started. It was going to be a long day of work. Timon, Pumbaa and Simba started asking everyone they encountered to help them and spread the word throughout the jungle. It worked, and now there were hundreds of animals involved in this plan, working and digging all together against a common enemy, the drought. They dug a canal that connected the hillside to the lake and created a passage for the water to exit from the underground river and reach the canal. Suddenly, the water started gushing from the hillside and quickly spreading through its dark way. Thanks to all the work and cooperation of every creature, the plan was successful and the water reached the lake, where now all the animals could finally bath and drink water. Joy sprout all over across the jungle. At the end of the day, Tanglemane, after having surprised everyone with his never-seen friendly attitude and personality, he said goodbye to everyone and went to his cave to rest. He was now considered a hero. Simba, wanting to find a way to thank him, he wanted to make something for him. He wanted to bring him water directly to his cave in order to make it easier for him to drink. Timon remembered about a bowl-like center inside the cave. Simba now knew what to do. He returned to the cave to see Tanglemane and told him that he got a surprise for him. In that moment, many pelicans arrived from the lake with their pouches filled of fresh water to fill the bowl-shaped rock and offered to bring him water whenever he needed it. The drought problem was finally solved, and everyone was satisfied and could make it through the dry and hot season. Since that day, Tanglemane, a lion who has been feared for years and always lived hidden from the rest of creatures, was forever remembered as the lion who saved the jungle. This was the brief story of In Deep Water. What do you think of it? Do you have any theory of what could have been the full background story of Tanglemane? If you do, tell me in the comments or in my Discord server. Also, remember to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. I'm Askari and I wish you a good night.